Assalamualaikum and good day everyone. My name is Abdurrahman Sipansar, a fourth year BS Biology student in Mindanao State University. I'm going to present to you entitled Cambodia Environmental Sociology and Intercensal Analysis. Intercensal analysis is important to identify whether there has been an improvement or not in a specific country's development. Monitor the growth rate of populations, birth rate, etc. Intercensal study of Cambodia. The data gathered of Cambodia from 2001, 2011, and 2021 is presented in this presentation. Each variable data will be presented here with their statistical graph or basic table and supported by discussion. A brief background in the country of Cambodia. Cambodia, first national census independent country taken in 1962, reported a population of about 5,700,000. Subsequent population figures are exceeding difficult to determine because of the enormous number of people who died or were displaced in the year after 1917. After some stability returned in 1990s, a second national census conducted in 1998 indicated that the population was double its 1962 level. In 2018, a third census put the population at nearly 13,400,000. Since that time, the country population has continued to expand at a rate above the world average. As in many developing countries, children under age 15 constitute the largest group, nearly one-third of the population, while about the three-fifths of the population is under 30. The age of distribution is becoming more balanced as the country continues to recover from its losses under the Khmer Rouge regime. Intercensus data of Cambodia for the year 2001, 2011, and 2021. This section illustrates the data information of Cambodia, the population data together with many variables which may affect the population of the country. Data gathered such as birth rate, death rate, infant mortality rate, fertility rate are shown below supported by discussion and interpretation in this section. We will discuss this one by one in the next slides. Population rate of Cambodia. Based on the table above, shown that increasing total population from 2001 to 2021. The major factors affect the increasing growth of population such as total fertility rate and the migration rate. The reason behind the Cambodia population growth rate are complex. Complex spilling over from the Vietnam War and internal warfare displaced thousands of families, making migration from the rural to urban areas or the other countries commonplace as the people try to escape the fighting. Based on the table, the birth rate is decreasing from 2001 to 2021. The particular reason including the greater take-up of highly effective contraceptions, the high cost of the raising children, improved occupational opportunities for the women, and the high level of student debt carried by the young adult. Next one is the death rate. Based on the table, there is a decrease in death rate from 2001 to 2021. The particular reason are improved hygiene, sanitation, and medicines in modern society has enabled the death rate to significantly decrease. Next one is the infant mortality rate. Based on the table, the decline of infant mortality rate is due to the improvement in health status and health care, particularly in maternal child health services. And the last one is the fertility rate. Based on the table, the fertility rate declined from 2001 to 2021. The particular reason an increase in education, the cost of living in the country becomes stronger economically each year and have all contributed to the younger families wanting a better standard of life. Next section is the implication to the environment. Today, the increasing of population is uncontrollable. Production of food supplies and other materials needed must be increased due to the increased demand to the society to avoid scarcity resources. According to the Leblanc, overpopulation is associated with the negative environmental and economic outcomes ranging from the impact of overfarming, deforestation, and water pollution to the eutrophication and global warming. While a lot of positive steps are being taken to better ensure the sustainability of human on our planet, the problem of having too many people has made lasting solutions more challenging to find. And the last section is the conclusion. To conclude, Cambodia cannot avoid to continue the increase of their population. The birth rate today continues to decline because it's expensive to take care of a child, especially when he is studying. Therefore, the death rate is also decreasing because the Cambodia already has a good hospital with a good facilities. As such, it can help treat the sick and prevent them from having a disease where it causes human death. And then, improvement in health status and healthcare, particularly in maternal and child health services, have contributed to the decrease in infant mortality rate. The decline of fertility rate is due to the rise in education's rising living costs and the country's economic strength year after they have all lead the younger families desiring a higher quality of life. Once again, I am Abdurrahman Simpansar. Thank you for listening.
Morning, everybody. I am Asujin Bahao, and for today's presentation, I am going to introduce Estonia's environmental sociology and intercensal analysis. Table of contents. So this paper will cover the introduction about the country of Estonia, the analysis, implications, and lastly, the conclusion. So what is an intercensal analysis? According to Crescente and Schmidt, 1956, an intercensal analysis estimates refer to dates between two past censuses, post-censal estimates to the times of the most recent enumeration. Considerable attention has been given in recent years to the description and testing of post-censal estimating techniques. About the country of my given choice, which is the country of Estonia. Estonia, it is a country in Northern Europe, so it belongs in Northern Europe. It connects the Baltic Sea and the Gulf of Finland, including more than 1,500 islands. Its diverse terrain spans rocky beaches, old-growth forests, and many lakes. These led to its nickname as the land of thousands of lakes and islands. It is formerly part of the Soviet Union. It is now dotted with castles, churches, and hilltop fortresses. The capital, Tallinn, is known for its preserved old town as well as museums and the 314-meter high Tallinn TV Tower, which has an observation deck. This paper will descriptively analyze the following chapter and shows the characteristics of the demographics that were used to lay out the statistical data. The environmental sociology of Estonia will consider the following three variables to be used to analyze the anthropogenic, and those factors are population, births, and deaths. Demographic population in millions. The population in Estonia in 2001 was 1,344,000, and in 2011 it went down to 1,300,000, and in 2021, it dramatically went up to 106 million population. According to the results of 2011 population census, ethnic Estonians form 68.7% of the total population. Most of the remainder consists of the post-war immigrants with an I, mainly from the Russian Federation and their descendants. Notably, the patterns of family formation and childbearing, characteristics of ethnic minorities, are found to be substantially different from those observed in native population. And Estonia's population growth is stagnant and expected to continue a decline. Its population is about 1.28 million, which is expected to drop to 1.1 million by 2030 and 860,000 by 2060. Demographic, birth, and death in 1000. The birth in Estonia in 2001 was 9 per 1000, and in 2011 it was 12 per 1000, and in 2021 it was 10 per 1000. The main culprit is the sub-replacement fertility rate in Estonia, though factors such as lower levels of immigration with an E and higher levels of immigration with an I may also play a role. Fertility rates are also likely to continue to rise according to statistics Estonia. 1.86 children are born per woman on average, and the deaths in Estonia in 2001 per 1,000 was 13, and in 2011 was 12, and in 2021 it was 12 too. So cardiovascular circulatory disease is one of the ruling causes of death in Estonia. Estonia accounting for 47.1% of deaths among men and 54.9% among women. Although the cardiovascular mortality rate is declining for both men and women, but it is still a significant cause of premature death. Application to the environment. Fewer consumers, lower birth rates, and falling working age populations also mean that there are fewer consumers. These reduces the opportunities to generate growth in the domestic market, leaving those countries with low birth rates more exposed to external shocks. Less workers. These led to labor shortages in countries where the working age populations are in decline, something that is already evident in major economies such as Japan and Germany, and also make point about the minorities, since many of them are wanting to work there and less interested in having children. These slow growth in many key industries and reduces a country's economic competitiveness. The push for automation. As labor shortages worsen and the pool of labor shrinks, the need for automation will rise accordingly. And fewer workers, in theory, can command higher wages. With a shortage of workers, they will be in a position to bargain for higher wages and enjoy higher living standards. This could help reduce the relative decline many workers have faced in recent decades. Due to the advanced technology in Estonia, they have been using 70% of Estonia's carbon dioxide emissions. Therefore, people in Estonia who have changed from post-war immigrants into local ethnicities are not similar to the other people of the same ethnicity. They have completely different beliefs and are said to become part of the Estonian ethnicity, but they still hold their objective view. Estonia has a high population of immigrants due to their economic benefits. The opinions and insights of immigrants have the tendency to be different from the locals. Emphasis on solving the problem of demographics with measures to increase fertility rates and maternity pay. With the increased use and dependence of technology, there has a large increase in the amount of carbon dioxide that the people in Estonia is using. And that would be all. Thank you.
This is an individual reporting. So today I'm going to discuss about the topic Sri Lanka Environmental Sociology and Intercensal Analysis. My name is Sahara Tantuo Sipudan. So first, introduction. As the years stretch, so does the population rampantly grow as well. From 2.5 to 5 billion people around 1950-1987. You see, in just 37 years, it doubles the population in the world. Currently, the growth rate has been increasingly exponentially, reaching staggeringly high peaks in the 20th century, but eventually slow down. Sri Lanka population has grown to 20 million in 2010, an almost eightfold increase since the census of 1871. The population doubled 54 years after the first census, 1925. Then again, in 35 years, 1960, as a result of the relatively high population growth rate, the 2001 census calculated the population 18.7 million. By 2003, the population was estimated to be 19.2 million, third doubling in 43 years. By 2011, the population of Sri Lanka had passed the 20 million mark by Bank 2012. The goal of this paper is to see the changes toward the fertility rate, mortality rate in the population of Sri Lanka in the year 2001, 2011, to 2021. By analyzing, comparing the data retrieved in the World Population Datasheet in the particular year of 2001, 2011, and 2021. The Sri Lanka background. Sri Lanka, formerly known as Ceylon and officially the Democratic Socialist Republic of Sri Lanka, is an island country in South Asia. It lies in the Indian Ocean, southwest of the Bay of Bengal, and southeast of the Arabian Sea. It is separated from the Indian subcontinent by the Gulf of Mannar and the Palk Strait. Sri Lanka is famous for its rich biodiversity, large cinnamon and tea exportation, and stunning natural wonders. It is also known as the Pearl of the Indian Ocean and has diverse cultural and religious elements across the nation. The trivia: Sri Lanka was the first nation in the world to elect a female head of government. Intercensal analysis. What is intercensal analysis? According to Crossetti and Smith, 1996, intercensal analysis is a 10-year gap analysis used to identify the difference 10 years later. It is a method for estimating population as census projections for countries or states using multiple regression analysis and diagnostic data. This is the fertility rate chart. The chart shows that the fertility rate of Sri Lanka from 2001 to 2011 has declined, and 2021 at least 4 from 18 of the past 2 decades to 14. While in mortality rate chart, the chart shows that Sri Lanka death rate was at the level of 6 per 1,000 people in the consecutive 2 decades. Year 2001 to year 2011 and year 2001, it did not change from level 6. Population chart. The chart shows an increase of population in Sri Lanka of more than a million, 1.4 million between year 2001 and 2011, and 1.2 million between year 2011 and 2021 rather. Implication to the environment. Towards the increasing population while stagnant mortality in Sri Lanka, it greatly affected a lot of things, such as in the environment, where to meet the demand of population growth, the food production development activities are affected and the nature are compromised. One of the implications in the environment of the increasing population is deforestation. Drivers of recent forest degradation are an increase in population in Sri Lanka. Due to deforestation in Sri Lanka, the size of land covered by natural forests decreased from 80% in 1820 to 43% in 1948. This was partly caused by British colonialism from 1801 to 1948, which increased the amount of tea, coffee, and rubber plantation. The natural forest cover further decreased to 23% in 2000. In 2010, 29% of Sri Lanka's areas was covered by forests. Conclusion. After comparing and analyzing the difference between the three different data sets of fertility, mortality, and population on world population date sheet year 2001, 2011, 2021, it shows how there is a growth in population the past year but low fertility rate and unchanged mortality rate which lead to increase of population in the future of Sri Lanka. That's all. Thank you for listening.
Good morning to all of you. I am Faisali Khan. My intercensal analysis country is South Korea. Before we proceed, what is intercensal analysis? Intercensal analysis estimates activities include the production of annual population, estimates of countries by age, sex, race, and Hispanic origin. South Korea is a country in Eastern Asia, occupying the southern half of the Korean peninsula. It borders the Sea of Japan, the Yellow Sea, and North Korea. South Korea's terrain is mostly mountainous. The government system is a republic. The chief of state is president, and the head of government is the prime minister. South Korea has a mixed economic system, which includes a variety of private freedom, combined with centralized economic planning and government regulation. South Korea is a member of the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation and the Asia-Pacific Trade Agreement. South Korea is an extraordinary country filled with beautiful beaches, thriving cities, ancient temples, remarkable natural scenery, and most importantly, friendly people. South Korea has come long way since the Korean War ended in 1953. Almost of all, South Korea was completely leveled during the war, which is hard to imagine if you have seen Korea recently. To this day, South Korea remains one of the world's most ethnically homogeneous countries. It is believed that the people of South Korea are direct descendants of several migratory Mongol tribes who ventured into Korean peninsula about a half million years ago. Today, South Korea is a home to approximately 49 million people, making it one of the most densely populated countries in the world. South Korea currently maintains diplomatic relationship with over 170 different nations. Now we have population in South Korea in the year 2001 was 51,305,186. The year 2011, the population was 49,786,159. In the year 2001 was 47,706,224 population, while the birth rate for South Korea in 2021 was 7.036 births per 1,000 people, and 2011 was 9.095, while in the year 2001 was 11.797. Now, let's proceed to the date rate of South Korea. The date rate in 2001 was 6.498, and we have 2011 was 5.369, while 2001 was 5.370. The rate of natural increase refers to the difference between the number of live births and the number of deaths occurring in a year divided by the mid-year population of the year multiplied by a factor, usually 1,000. The year 2021 natural increase rate per 1,000 population was negative 1.1, and the year 2011 natural increase rate was 3.70, while 2001 is 0. Now we have also net migration rate in South Korea. In the year 2021 we have 0.326, and the year 2011 was 0.705, while the year of 2001 was 0.478. And we have also the infant mortality rate in South Korea. The year 2021 was 1.921, and the year 2011 was 3.188, while the year 2001 was 5.766. Now, let's proceed to the fertility rate. According to Statistics Korea, which the total of fertility rate gauges the average number of babies that a woman is expected to have during lifetime, fell 0.03 over the year to 0.81 in the 2021. 1.24 births per woman in the year 2011. South Korea's total fertility rate reached 1.3 in 2001. Implication to the environment. After the Second World War, the society of South Korea began a massive shift from agrarian to industrial, which was only accelerated by Korean War. South Korea is a manufacturing and export powerhouse, as it is the world's 11th largest gross domestic producer. Despite, despite this improvement, South Korea remains one of the most polluted countries in the world in terms of air quality. In fact, a study conducted in February of 2017 found that South Korea had the second worst air quality of all advanced nations of the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development. South Korea faces is understanding whether this air pollution is a result of their own production or is carried by the wind from neighboring countries. The conclusion of this, the population of South Korea continues to expand after a year. A recent study by NASA has found that over half of the air pollution in South Korea is a result of emission from both industrial sites and power plants present within the country. However, the rest of this air pollution was found in originated from other countries. Prior to the war between North and South Korea, 75% of the population was living in rural areas, which is drastically different than the current state of South Korea, in which 82% of the population lives in urban areas. Most South Koreans have settled around major population centers in the northwest city of Seoul, Incheon, and southeast city of Daegu, Busan.
Hi, I am John Alan A. Cañizares. Today I'll be discussing to you the interpretation of the intercensal analysis of the Italy. What is intercensal analysis? Intercensal analysis is an analysis of two 10-year graph that consists of the year 2001 up to 2011 and 2011 up to 2021. The data aims to update information on population size and growth, birth rate, death rate of the inhabitants, infant mortality rate, fertility rate, population, age by group, as well as life expectancy at birth by gender. This intercensal analysis is aimed to provide analysis on each variable that are presented. Variables that are presented in this paper comes from the credible websites or sources that provides demographic and statistics of the variables. Data are used to compare the changes of each and every variable within two 10-year gaps starting from 2001 up to 2021. Italy is a country of South Central Europe in which located at the middle of the Mediterranean Sea, Southern Europe. The country has a unitary parliamentary republic with Rome as its capital largest city. The country covers a total area of 301 and 230,000 kilometers, which is equivalent to 116 and 310,000 square miles, and shares island borders with France, Switzerland, Austria, Slovenia, including also the enclave microstates of Vatican City and San Marino. Italy has over 60 million inhabitants according to the latest survey of Macrotrends. Italy is the most populous member state of the European Union. They are also considered as to have one of the most advanced economy, where the country ranked as the ninth largest by nominal GDP or third in the European Union, and it has also a high rank in life expectancy, quality of life, healthcare, and education. The chart here represents the population size in Italy. According to the chart, it shows that in the year 2001, the total population of Italy was about 57.8 million. Italy's population has increased by 3 million during the year 2001 up to 2011, which is approximately 5.19% growth rate. During the year 2011, Italy had a population of 60.8 million people. Over the next 10 years, the country has recorded a decrease in numbers from 60.8, and the country has dropped to 59 million people. Approximately, the country has experienced a approximately 2.9% decrease in terms of their population. In terms of the birth rate of the country, over the past 20 years, the birth rate in the Italy has significantly decreased. In 2001, there are 9 children were estimated to be born in every 1,000 inhabitants, and it increases after 10 years from 9 to 10 birth rate during the year 2011. In 2021, it surprisingly decreased significantly from 10 to 7, which is approximately a decrease or a drop by 30%. A statistic from ISTAT suggests that in the year 2020, births in Italy were reduced by approximately 15,000 on 2019 levels, while the average number of children per woman was at 1.17, coming in as one of the most lowest ratio recorded in the world during that year. Italy's decrease in birth rate has continued during the year 2021 as Italy experienced the lowest ever birth rate during the month of January, 10 months after Italy's COVID-19 lockdown. The country has registered a 13.6% decline in births, translating to a nearly 5,000 fewer births compared with January 2020. In terms of the death rate, um, within the span of 10 years, Italy has maintained its death rate into 10 people per 1,000 inhabitants. According to Statista Research Department, since the beginning of the 21st century, the number of deaths in Italy remained almost the same. As shown on the figure, during the year 2001 up to 2011, death rate of the country is stable. In the year 2021, the death rate significantly increased by 13, in which equivalent to 30% growth rate. One of the reasons of the high growth death rate in the Italy is during the COVID-19 lockdown. In October 14, 2021, Italy recorded a 4.7 million cases of coronavirus, representing one of the most affected countries worldwide. Currently, the regions with the highest number of cases are Lombardy and Veneto, located in the north of the country. Demographic data on the infected patients show that COVID-19 in Italy has hit every age group uniformly. However, the mortality rate appears to be much higher for elderly patients. In the same month, October 2021, Italy has recorded a 132 and 74,000 deaths during that month. The infant mortality rate in Italy, statistic shows that the infant mortality rate per 1,000 births in Italy from 2001 and 2021, it has a recorded of 5 deaths of infants in every 1,000 births. After 10 years, the country has decreased its record from 5 to 3.7. And it continues to decrease within the next 10 years where it records from 3.19 to 2.8 deaths of infants. Over the span of 20 years, Italy's infant mortality rate is constantly decreasing. The fertility rate of Italy in the year 2001 was 1.3 births per woman. Within the span of 10 years, the fertility rate per woman is increased by 7.69%, and in the year 2021, the fertility rate of the country suffers a 4.28% decrease from the last 10 years. During the last 20 years, the fertility rate of Italy recorded a very tiny decrease. In terms of the population by age group, in the year 2001, the share of people aged over 15 to 64 years has the highest percentage of the population in Italy, in which they have contributed over 68% within that year. In 2011, percentage distribution of the population by age group almost remains the same, in which ages 0 to 14 remains the same and 15 to 64 years decreased by 2%, and 65 years and older increased by 2%. Within that span of 10 years, ages 0 to 14 has been constant with their contribution in terms of the population. 15 to 64 years continues to decrease its numbers by 2.2%, and the 65 years and older increased only by 2%. During the year 2021, statistics suggest that within the span of 10 years, ages 0 to 14 has been constant with their contribution in terms of population, and 15 to 64 years continues to decrease its number by 2%, but still they share the highest contribution of the population in the year 2021, while the ages 65 years and older is constantly increasing. Next is the life expectancy at birth by gender. The figure shows the life expectancy in Italy by gender in the years 2001 up to 2021. During the year 2001, female has more life expectancy than males. It recorded that female averagely reaches the age of 76 before dying, which is higher than males that only expects until the age of 72. After a decade, life expectancy of both genders increases, where females approximately live up to 79 years and males has a huge increase in its life expectancy, where it recorded to 84 years before dying. During the year 2021, the life expectancy of the females increased by a single year, and while the males maintains its life expectancy in years. Implications to the environment. In terms of the population, having a low population means that there would be a lesser carbon emission, less stress on the country's food systems. But this means that fertility rate on the country will eventually drop for a variety of complex reasons. Having a maintained and consistent population will allow the country to have enough food to sustain to their population. And aside from that, country will not suffer from overcrowding, and consumption of natural resources will also be maintained and consistent. Italy's birth rate is consistently declining in the last two decades, and because of this, it will give a less pressure in the environment. The country will avoid to face great pressure on environmental sustainability from a growing population, such as the global warming, desertification, loss of farmland, pollution, and use of non-renewable materials. As a conclusion, Italy's overall demographic trends is gradually declining, and the growth rate of the population is gradually slowing, which experienced declining fertility, increased infant mortality rates, and increasing death rate during the recent years. One of the reasons of the population decrease is the constantly declining number of births, and declining population of the country is caused by the decreasing fertility rate per woman in the last 10 years. A lower birth rate is also linked to an aging population. Data on the age distribution shows that the share of the people aged 0 to 14 years old gradually dropped in the last 10 years. Subsequently, the age 65 years and above grew, exceeding the population by 5%. This demographic trend suggests that it has a immediate short-term as well as longer-term implications for economic growth, public debt, and inequality as well as flow of capital.
Hello guys, good day. So today I will be presenting my intercensal analysis entitled Afghanistan and Intercensal Analysis for 2 Decades. So these are the topics in my presentation. So first one is the introduction, the Islamic Emirates of Afghanistan, the intercensal analysis, the implications to the environment, the conclusion, and lastly, the references. So before we proceed, I just want to share something that I read. It's a beautiful proverb that you can actually that Afghanistan can relate. So you have cleansed your body. How will you cleanse your soul? This is actually by Pashto. So he's a famous Afghan, I think. Yeah, I forgot. So in this proverb, it's actually super relatable for Afghanistan kasi if you watched some documentaries after the 9/11 attack in US, they blamed a specific person. They said that yes, it was a terrorist attack, and then the US went to war with Afghanistan. So without even, I think they have some information, pero um, they said actually in some documentaries I watched, especially Nat Geo, they said that they will cleanse Afghanistan with terrorists, and it's actually funny because for the Afghan people, the Americans are the terrorists, kasi they're the one invading their country. So when the Afghanistan tried to, I mean the Afghans did fight back. They fought back because it's their land. And in Islam, we have this thing called jihad, in which you have to fight back. You can fight back if your land is being taken from you. So for that, since for from the War of 2001, for the Afghan War, I think this is very relatable because some of the interviews ng mga soldiers is that they've actually killed children, and that they can't forget the Afghan War. Kasi the Afghans really fought. So they're not actually cleansing Afghanistan. They're showing their military power and stuff like that. And I think there's some underlying uh, politics beneath the invasion. So yes, now begin. Afghanistan, the capital of Afghanistan is Kabul, and also the largest city is Kabul. The capital of Afghanistan is a large city, Kabul, a serene city of mosques and gardens during the storied reign of Emperor Babur, founder of the Mughal dynasty, and for centuries an important entry point on the Silk Road. Kabul lays in ruins following the long and violent war of Afghan. As I've said kanina, before the American-Afghanistan War, Afghanistan was really beautiful, and it's a culturally rich country. So after the Afghan War, it lay in ruins. So Afghanistan, a landlocked state located in crossroads of Central and South Asia, is situated between longitudes of 69 degrees and 11 to the east and latitudes of 34 degrees 31 bound to the north, bordered by Pakistan to the east and south, Iran to the west, Turkmenistan to the northwest, Uzbekistan to the north, Tajikistan to the northern east, and China to the northern east and east. The state covers a diverse range of ecosystems with total land area of most 881,913 kilometers square. Moreover, Afghanistan is almost rich in natural resources, water resources, oil, gemstone, and other minerals. Yes, Afghanistan is really rich. A huge national treasury of Afghan people. This was cited by Frotan et al. In 2019. So this is the world map, and this is Afghanistan. The green one is Afghanistan. So for the intercensal analysis, the population and the housing census are taken quite seriously in affluent countries around the world. They ensure that the census is conducted on a regular basis, such as every 10 years, with some countries opting for repetition every 5 years. This is one of the reasons for their country's excellent management. There are certain countries that have yet to conduct their first population census. These are typically third world countries that are plagued by severe economic challenges as well as frequent disputes and wars, such as Afghanistan. Such countries, our socio-political and socio-economic realities, have never allowed them to conduct a complete population census, as peace is one of the most important prerequisites for such census. Afghanistan is an example of this type of country. It has yet to conduct its first complete and scientific census. Because of political upheavals in the region, the country's first census, conducted in 1979 to 1980, was unable to be completed. For nearly 3 decades, the country relied on the same data, which was rife with inaccuracies. Of course, they were at war, so there were really inaccuracies. Okay. The census, which was originally scheduled for 2008, was postponed to 2010, has yet to take place. Estimates as recent as 2010 are fraught with controversy. They're based on 1979 census, which was incomplete. These estimates are not considered accurate representations of the Afghanistan population. A comprehensive census was never completed. The circumstances leading up to the first presidential election in 2005 were ideal for this, but political groupings, self-serving motivations ruined everything. Because they had a civil war. After they had the new president, they had new civil. They had the civil war broke out. So during the Afghan war, there was still civil war, and then the population census could really never be completed at that time. So, Afghanistan's diverse and suffering people have been in desperate need of such census. For the past few years, a large amount of money and support has poured into Afghanistan, but due to lack of detailed data on the country's population, the deficiencies have not been identified appropriately, and the funds and the support have not been able to be used effectively and in the required areas. Yes, because some of their heads were actually corrupt. So you can never finish the census and have reliable data for this. So, furthermore, the Afghan society has a very diversified structure. Many data sources, current estimates of Afghanistan's demography are vehemently challenged by different ethnic groups in the nation. It is believed that the Pashtun majority has been overstated, and the difference between Pashtun population and the second and third dominating ethnic group, the Tajiks and the Hazaras, has been overcalculated, thus declaring Pashtuns as a dominating majority. In the case of Hazaras, the estimates are extremely contentious according to the 2010 estimates. They account for 10% of the overall population, which appears to be inaccurate given the territory they cover. Such debates in the country can be a major setback for democratic progress and the deprived people of the rightful representation of the government. So even the minorities and majorities were actually have discrepancies. So here in this figure is the population in the year 2001, 2011, and 2021. So in 2001, this is the green one, they have 26.8 million, and in 2011 they have 32.4, and then in 2021 they have 39.8 million. Okay, now let's proceed to the birth and deaths in the 2001, 2011, and 2021. So as you can see here, the birth rate in 2001 is about 19, the birth rate is 43%. So medyo mataas siya. And then in 2001 it's actually super mataas, 44. And then in 2021 it declined, so 32%. So for the death is in 2001, they have the highest recorded deaths kasi 19%, because this actually was the start of the Afghan war. So in 2011, 16%, so it's declining. It's gradually declining. In 2021, it's just about 6%. So for the number of children born and dies in the year 2001, 2011, and 2021. So as you can see, the fertility rate is 7.5. So in each mother, there's actually like six to seven children born. So the fertility rate in 2001 is 7.5. In 2011 is 2.7. So pinakamalit is in 2011, and then in 2021 is 6. So for the infant mortality rate is this is actually marami na. So the number of children that dies, number of children killed every year is in 2001 is hindi masyado. They're actually close with 2011. Pero the highest rate of the children's death is in 2021. So for the live population from the age 15 to 65 and above in the year 2001 and 2011 and 2021. So as you can see, the percentage population of age 60 plus and above in 2001 is 3%, in 2011 is 5%, and in 2021 is 3. So increasing and then decreasing. So balik sa 3 siya for after the 10 years. So for the percentage of population at the age which is greater than 15 is, for the 2001, it's 47%. And in 2011, it's 33. So it's highest in 2001. And then nag-decline siya in 2011. And then nag-increase ulit siya in 2001. So for the male and female life expectancy in the year 2001, 11, and 2021. So for the female life expectancy at birth, so at birth, in 2001 is 44. And okay, so same sila in 2011, and then it increased into 67. See, sa 2021. For the male life expectancy at birth is they have at least in 2001 and 2011, and 2001 is 46 years old, and then in 2011 naging 44, and then in 2021 naging 64. So basically mas tumagal na yung life expectancy ng both male and female in 2021, pero higher pa rin yung sa female during 2021. So yes. So the next one is the population with HIV in the year 2001, 11, and 2021 again. So percentage population of age 15 to 49 with HIV. So mataas lang siya is in 2021. So there were no records in 2001, 2011 kasi I think they were busy with the war, and they don't have that enough facilities in hospitals to check if they have HIV or not. And they're so busy with the war. So in 2021, yun siya, they have super high rate of HIV. So for the next one is the gross domestic product per capita in the year 2001 and 11 and 2021. So highest is yung sa 2021, which is 2,110. And wala siya sa 2001. There's no record in 2001. And then in 2011, it's 860. Now let us move on with the implications to the environment. It is commonly assumed that there is a link between population and environmental degradation. It is simple. If all other factors remain constant, more people should have greater impact regarding the environment. The repercussions of human population growth on Earth are numerous, including the environment, including the increase in environmental resources extraction, with far-reaching consequences for the world climate and ecology systems. Furthermore, one of the current global challenges is the potential of nuclear war. Overpopulation is the source of environmental degradation, with humanity's footprint being the cause as the population expands and the situation worsens. Yes, of course, because as the population grows, we need more resources. Therefore, we find these resources, we increase the carbon footprints, and etc. Pero in Afghanistan's case, the environmental implication to the environmental degradation also involves yung sa pagsira talaga ng environment, because they're using nuclear powers, no, not nuclear powers, they're using guns, etc., which ruins not just the house but also the climate. So here, as you can see that they're ruining the ozone layer. Now let us move on to the conclusion of my intercensal analysis. Understanding future population patterns is essential for forecasting and planning for shifting age structures, resources, and healthcare needs, as well as environmental and economical landscapes. Future fertility patterns are a crucial input for estimating future population size, but they are fraught with uncertainties and differing estimation for forecasting approaches, resulting in significant discrepancies in global population forecasts. In many countries, changing population size and age structure can have a significant economic and social geopolitical consequences. So I've said kanina on the first discussions that it really affects the uh, census if you cannot perform or you have discrepancies and mali-mali yung data mo. So yes. So for the references, I have stated here my references. You can check them out later if you want for the datas. And yes, that's it. So on the last slide na, thank you for listening to my presentation, and I hope you guys learned something from me and from my intercensal analysis. Thank you so much and have a great day, guys.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and good day everyone. I am Farida Muin, and today I'll be presenting to you the Thailand's environmental sociology and intercensal analysis. So the coverage of my presentation would be the introduction, background of the country, analysis, implication to the environment, conclusion, and the references. Intercensal data estimate populations between censuses by combining the decennial census data from the two censuses with birth, death, migration, and net international immigration data. And this analysis aims to see the population growth occurred between a decade ago and the present. The estimated population of the year 2001, 2011, and the 2021, which has decades year gap, will be analyzed and compared to show how big the population of Thailand had grown. Thailand is in the heart of mainland Southeast Asia. Thailand is a country of mountains, hills, plains, and a long coastline along the Gulf of Thailand and the Andaman Sea, not including the coastlines of some 400 islands of them in the Andaman Sea. Thailand's population is relatively homogeneous. More than 85% speak a dialect of Thai and share a common culture. This core population includes the Central Thai, the Thai Lao, and the Northern Thai and Southern Thai. The language of the Central Thai population is the language taught in school and used in government. Several other small Thai-speaking groups include the San, Lu, and Potai. So the fertility rate shows that in 2001 it has 1.8 but declines in 2011 of 1.6 and then declines again or decrease in 2021 of 1.4. That represents the lowest birth rate in at least 60 years. Tera Cindy Charak, an expert demography of Thammasat University in Bangkok, said that population crisis, where the mindset towards having children has changed. So the mortality of 22 rate of the year 2001 declines to 12 of 2011 after a decade and to 6 of 2021 in another decade. In 2020, death rate for Thailand was 7.9 per 1,000 people. Death rate of Thailand fell gradually from 9.7 per 1,000 people in 1971 to 7.9 per 1,000 people in 2022. The leading censuses of death in Thailand are cancer, ischemic heart disease, stroke, lower respiratory infections, and other diseases. The table shows in net migration rate an increase of immigrants and a decrease of immigrants that gives negative net migration rate in 2021. Net migration rate for Thailand was 0.28 migrants per thousand population. Though Thailand net migration rate fluctuated substantially in recent years, it tended to decrease through 1975 to 2020 period ending at 0.28 migrants per thousand population in 2020. So the table shows in mid-year population that an increase of population from 62.4 of 2001 to 69.5 of 2011, but a decrease to 66.7 in 2021. And in the comparison of the population by the age below 15 and above 65, the average of the population age below 15 overran the population age above 65 on the 3 consecutive decades. As countries become more developed, it's common to see a decline in fertility rates and an increase in the aging population. Thailand experienced this transition very quickly between 1970 and 1990 when the fertility rate dropped from 6 births per woman to 2 births per woman. Fertility rates in Thailand are about 1.5 births per woman, about 30% under the population replacement rate of 2.1 per woman, birth per woman. The fertility rates have been this low for several years. However, population momentum has still resulted in population growth, although the population is expected to decline following 2028. The population numbers were growing at a far greater rate, but it's claimed that the government-funded family planning program has raised awareness and led to a dramatic fall in birth figures. So the conclusion is the population growth of a country is caused by a good environment. It makes couples have children, people migrate, and less death On the other hand, a decrease of population is caused by a destroyed, ruined, and unpleasant environment. People in an area where has no environment tend to migrate to other areas or country. More people die because of diseases that can absorb from the surroundings and less birth. After the datasets collection and presentation, it shows that the population of Thailand increases in 2011 from 2001 but decreases to 2022. Despite the total differences of the mortality, fertility, and migration rate of the three examined years, 2001, 2011, and 2021, the rise of the population possibly occurred in 2012 to 2020, as it shows that it has decreased in 2021. So that's all, and thank you.
Assalamu alaikum and good morning to each and everyone. My name is Raima Butawan Saliwato and I'm assigned to present my intercensal analysis of country which I have chosen. So it's Indonesia. I know that we already know what intercensal analysis is. It's estimate population between censuses by combining the decennial census data from the two censuses with the birth, death, migration, and net international immigration data. Also, this study looks at the intercensal period from 2001, 2011, and 2021, which spans 10 years. Variables are very important in this study in order to effectively illustrate the analysis. But before we're going to discuss the analysis, let's have a quick first discussion about the general overview of my chosen country. So it's Indonesia. Indonesia is the largest country in the Southeast Asia with the maximum dimension from east to west of about 3,200 miles and an extent from north to south of 1,100 miles. In terms of religion, Indonesia contains a clear Muslim majority, approximately 87.2% of the total Indonesian population or 207.2 million individuals in absolutely numbers is Muslim. About 56.7% of Indonesian populations lives on Java, the most populous island. The population density of Indonesia is currently at 140.08 individual per square kilometer. According to the 2010 official population data, Indonesia has 11 cities with a population over 100 million, although estimates from 2014 show that there are now 14 cities that have population that exceed 1 million. Now, the following are the variables for this analysis. We have the population, birth rate, death rate, infant rate, net migration rate. So each of these variables will have a supporting data either through a simple table or a graph that will be interpreted through a discussion. So now let's start with the population. Table 1 shows that the highest number of population in Indonesia during the mid-year was recorded during the year of 2021 with 275.2 million and 238.2 million was recorded during the mid-2011 and then 206.1 million was recorded during the mid-2001. The growing population is a concern for Indonesia's economy, threatening to slow its growth and development. A lower population growth rate would translate into a high per capita, leading to higher incomes, higher savings, higher investment, and implies a decrease in the poverty. So this table shows that the birth rate of Indonesia per 1,000 people was high during the year of 2001, which was recorded 23, and then 2011 was 19, and it declined on 2021, which was 16 per 1,000 people respectively. So, Table 3 shows that the death rate for Indonesia in 2021 was 7 death per 1,000 people, and 6 is recorded decline from 2001 and 2011. So, this graph shows that Indonesia's population increases from 2001, and that the birth rate of Indonesia per 1,000 people was high during the year of 2001 and declined during the year of 2021. Infant mortality rate. This table show that there is a decreasing infant mortality rate from 2001 to 2021. Common determinants of maternal, fetal, and neonatal mortality include, but are not limited to, poor access to care, the poor quality of that care, the lack of education of many women, and living in poverty. Older infants up to 5 years of age are also affected by malnutrition, and infectious disease such as malaria. Infertility rate, this table 5 show that there is a decreased fertility rate from 2001 to 2021. This decrease has stemmed in part from the launch of a vigorous family planning program in the mid-1970s and from a social and economic change, particularly massive improvements through the 1970s and 1980s in basic education for girls. And net migration rate, this table 6 shows that there is an increasing net migration rate from 2001 to 2011. So the in this graph shows that Indonesia's infant mortality decreased from 2001 to 2021, as we have see in this graph, no? And also there is it shows that there is decreasing in fertility rate, and also its net migration rate increasing from 2001 to 2021. So now let's have discuss the implication to the environment and also the conclusion. The largest contributor to environmental destruction and development is people. The increased exploitation of natural resources may result from a continued population growth. Indonesia's artificially high food prices are one of the biggest factors keeping 28 million of the country's people marred in poverty. It is particularly rampant in the Indonesian agriculture. Farming incomes are low and make this sector so unattractive that employment stagnates. So, in conclusion, the population increase could primarily be attributed to internal factors such as changes in marriage age, improvements in health allowing more children to live to adulthood and increasing birth rates. High population increase has negative impacts to the country, including conflicts, environmental degradation, high cost of living, and reduction in natural resources. One benefit associated with an increase in population is the growth of human workforce. Immigration has also contributed to population growth in developed countries and urban centers. Many people migrate to other countries in search for better living standards. So thank you for listening, and that would be all.
Good day, everyone. My name is Sarah Faith Ramirez. I am here to present an intercensal analysis entitled Pakistan Environmental Sociology and Intercensal Analysis. So, introduction. The Pakistan Intercensal Analysis was an analysis of a 10-year gap consisting of the year 2001, 2011, and 2021. The objective of this analysis is to identify the differences of the 10-year gap. The data used was from the secondary data of the world's population datasheet. So, the methodology. The methodology used was comparing the changes in each variable of year 2001, 2011, and 2021. Variables used are the population, birth rate, death rate, infant mortality rate, fertility rate, population percentage, ages below 15, population percentage, ages above 64, the life expectancy at birth of both males and females, and the GNIPP per capita. So now let us know the background of Pakistan. Pakistan, officially the Islamic Republic of Pakistan, is a country in South Asia. It is the world's fifth most populous country with a population of more than 229 million as of this year and has the world's second largest Muslim population. The country occupies an area of 796,095 kilometers squared. Compared, it is somewhat larger than the Turkey, which has 783,562 kilometers squared, or slightly less than twice the size of the U.S. state of California. The most important port, the largest city, and the biggest economic center of the country is Karachi. Pakistan's second largest city is Lahore. Other major Pakistani cities are Faisalabad, Rawalpindi, Multan, Gujranwala, Hyderabad, Peshawar, and Quetta. Spoken languages are Urdu, a form of Hindustani. They also speak English, both official, Punjabi, Sindhi, Dari, Baluchi, and Pashto. Main religion of this country is Islam. 90% practice Islam. Pakistan is a developing country. The world's 22nd largest economy is semi-industrialized and mainly based on manufacturing and agriculture. Agriculture contributes about 1/4 of the gross domestic product, or GDP, accounts for approximately half of the labor force, and is the largest source of foreign exchange earnings. Major crops are wheat, rice, sugarcane, maize, and cotton. Pakistan's major exports include textiles, leather goods, sporting goods, chemicals, and carpets. The intercensal analysis. Now let us know the differences of each variables in the year 2001, 2011, and 2021. The first variable is population. As you can see in the figure, Pakistan's population from 2001 to 2011 up to 2021 increases. Population in 2001 is about 145 million, and it increases into 100 176.9 million in 2011, and in 2021 it grows into 225.4 million. Birth rate in 2001 to 2011 up to 2021 decline. Death rate also declines. The infants mortality rate from 2001 up to 2021 also declined. Fertility rate in 2001 to 2011 declined, however, it increases in 2021. Population percentage of people ages 15 and below in 2001 to 2011, the population percentage declined. However, in 2011 to 2021, the population percentage remained constant. Population percentage of people ages 64 and above in 2001 to 2011, the population percentage remained constant, and it increases in 2021. Life expectancy at birth of both male and female increases in 2001 to 2011 up to 2021. The GNIPP per capita increases in 2001 to 2021. And so, what are the implications of these variables to the environment? The increasing population numbers is associated with negative environmental outcomes ranging from the impacts of deforestation and air and water pollution to eutrophication and global warming. Lower birth rates and fertility rates are associated with less growth and a more rapidly aging population, and hence it will benefit the environment. Less growth of population would mean lower and carbon emissions, less stress on global food systems, and less chance of transgressing planetary boundaries. However, even though Pakistan birth rates and fertility rates decreases, Pakistan is still one of the most populous country in the world. And as we have observed on the data on the GNIPP per capita, it increases over the years. Purchasing power parity or PPP measures how much a currency can buy in terms of an international benchmark, usually in dollars. Since the cost of goods and services differs between countries, and an increase in per capita income has created an issue with environmental pollution. So in conclusion, population of Pakistan increased and it will continue to increase year after year. The birth rate and fertility rate in 2001, 2011, and 2021 declined. The death rate and the infant's mortality rate also declined. The life expectancy at birth in both males and females had increased. Population percentage of people below 15 years old in the year 2001 and 2011 declined and shows constant percentage in 2011 and 2021. The population percentage of people ages 64 and above in the year 2001 and 2011 show constant percentage and increase in 2011 and 2021. The GNIPP per capita increases from 2001 up to 2021. So these are my references. Thank you everyone for listening and God bless.